The Scrow scouts tossed the travelers hanks of repugnant dried meat and smoked corn. It was clear Dorothy and company were to wait there. A day and a half later, the leader of the Scrow arrived, traveling in a slow-moving caravanserai that with considerable care negotiated the path to this low-lying western ridge of Knobblehead Pike. The party included a translator, so Lear found himself requesting an audience with the highness behind the shabby drapes of the palanquin. He wasn't skilled at bargaining. "The only thing I request is that we hurry," he said. "My friend Dorothy wants to get safely to the Emerald City. She has an appointment with the wizard. Then she intends to travel abroad somewhere. And I with her," he thought to add, but didn't. "Would she have me? And if not, what am I to do?" The translator was an old gnarled Scrow gentleman who, despite his tribal appurtenances, had been trained in the university environs of Shiz. "Very well," he said. "I don't see why we should dally. It is all of our interest. After all, giving her highness a chance to compose herself. We shall let you know when she's ready." Dorothy said, "We don't think much of crowned heads where I come from." "Who's his highness?" The interpreter left without answering. "How rude," said Dorothy. "Well, who is she, this highness? Might be the Ozma everyone goes on about." Lear explained, "The last Ozma disappeared many years ago, kidnapped as a young girl when the wizard came to power. Nanny believed the child had been bewitched and entranced, never to grow older by a day until the moment she was released from the charm, like a fairy tale princess. Then she would rise up and smash the mighty in their comfort and return the monarchy to its rightful place. But Auntie Witch always pooh-poohed that. She said that the child had probably been murdered long ago. The remains of the Ozma Tipper-Terrarius would be found deep in the bone bins of the palace, along with her ancestors, as if anyone were allowed to look there." "I believe in Ozma," said Scarecrow staunchly. "Mindless fool," thought Lear, but nothing more. The court of the Scrow didn't keep them waiting for the sun long. When the sun had reached its zenith, attendants unrolled a green carpet with a puckered selvage. Shapeless pillows, sour with mildew, were placed about. "Stand until her highness is seated," the translator said, arranging in a kind of lattice pattern the remaining heirs to his pale domed head. "Then you may be seated too." She was helped out of her compartment by 6 retainers. Her muscles were of little use holding up her bulk, and her large sagging face twisted the seams of the overlapping skin. She grimaced at the pain of every step. An old woman, a monolith of an ancient Scrow matron, easily the size of her retainers standing together like a queen bee among drones. Her face was scored with green and purple smudges, some sort of ceremonial marking. The waft of velveter and lily water, pleasant enough, couldn't entirely disguise an animal odor. "Princess Nastoya," said the translator in comprehensive Ozish, "may I present Dorothy Grayle, a parts unknown, and her companions, a lion, a scarecrow, a gentleman clad in tin, and the boy about whom you've been told." He then repeated the lines in Scrow to indicate how he would go on. "How do you do?" said Dorothy, curtsying. Princess Nastoya was lowered to the ground so she could regard them while reclining on her side. Her spine was preternaturally long, as if she possessed extra vertebrae. The servants propped her knees on a yellow cushion and her elbow on another, and they arranged a small amount of cushions behind her so she wouldn't roll backward. The interpreter began a flowery biography, but the princess cut him off. Her voice was slow, tympanic, as if her nasal passages were large enough for the storage of melons. "I am sore with disbelief," she said, the interpreter translating. "I had only known that the witch sent out crows to call for help. But before they could reach me, they were attacked and their flesh devoured by a posse of nocturnal rocks." "How do you know about the crows?" asked Lear, "if they were eaten by rocks?" "Nocturnal rocks are mutants," said the princess, "but the attack was witnessed by a great eagle who keeps an eye on certain districts for me. He drove the rocks away from one crow, and they managed to pass on the message the witch's embattlement for dying. The Eagle delivered the messages to me as I was closing a convocation with some of the southern Arjiki clans. The witch ought to have been told about that, said Lear. She considered herself an honorary Arjiki, sort of. I won't be lectured on strategy or protocol, replied the princess. In any case, I did invite her, but I never knew if any invitation got through. I was told that she was distracted with grief over the death of her sister. She was unsteady at the end, admitted Lear. I'm not sure how much she could have done for you, or if she could have been bothered. In truth, she was kind of a hermit. She kept to herself. Even when it came to me, he remembered, I'd have to put the case forcefully to her if I had gotten her attention, asserted the princess. She was no fool. She saw that when the breadbasket of Munchkin Land was ruinously taxed by the Emerald City's chancellors, I had to break away and form a free state. If pressed, we were in the West, we will do no less than that ourselves. My attempts to build an allegiance with the Unamata have come to naught, and the Arjikis can enjoy their own insulary, obstinate slope dwellers, but we Skro will not stand by and let our wetlands be plundered. The wizard is amassing an army on the eastern slope of the Kells. I know how he works, you whippet. The princess groaned. She might have been a help, but it was too late. I hear the report of a mountain gripe that the particular woman is dead. Elphaba, the interpreter pronounced it wrong. Elphaba, said Lear. Is the murderer here among us? Asked the princess. It was an accident, said Dorothy. I didn't mean to do it. She put the end of one of her pigtails in her mouth and chewed it. The deceased was a curious creature, said the princess. I only met her once, but she impressed me with her stamina. She did not seem the type to die. Who does? Said Dorothy. Speak for yourself, muttered the lion. I die a little bit every day, especially on the unfriendly faces in the room. Through her factorium, the princess continued her message. You're in grave danger. Not least from me, murder and theft of the witch's belongings. The way I see it, even worse. But even so in conclusion with the wizard. Lear protested, sputtering. Not in conclusion with the wizard. Well, the Wizard of Oz did ask me to kill her, admitted Dorothy. No use crying over that spilled milk. He did, and I won't lie about it. I didn't intend to do it. I just wanted her forgiveness for the accidental death of her sister. And then there was a bucket of water. And how was I to know? I mean, we don't have witches back home in Kansas. We wouldn't hear of it. You've got it all wrong, interrupted Lear. Listen, Princess Nastoya, please. I lived with a witch all my life. There's no question of thefts. I am the next of kin. How so? He couldn't answer. The princess pressed her point. Can you prove it? He shrugged. His skin was neither green, like Elphaba's, nor musky ochre like Fiero's. Children and widow. Lear was rather pasty. In fact, not a convincing specimen of anything when he got right down to it. It is no matter, said the princess. I would not kill you. Oh, no, I would not. Others might, and I wonder if I could prevent them. We have no sway for the Arjikis, at the collapse of my recent campaign shows. Why would the wizard's armies bother to raise a hand against us? Asked Lear. The witch is dead, and the ruling family of the Arjikis, the house and line of Fiero, has been obliterated. Even the daughter? Asked the princess. Lear's mouth dropped. You mean Nor? Have you otherwise heard about her? What can you tell me of her? I have capable ears, she answered, but continued. Can you prove the witch is dead? You want us to bring her back to life? Lear scoffed. You might as well kill us now if that's your demand. The princess indicated that she wanted to stand. It's the neck. It creaks under the weight of too much heavy thinking, she said. It took 9 men to cantilever her to her feet, and then they brought back a pair of jewel canes as thick as newel posts. She leaned forward and fixed Lear in the eye. You would be no help at treaties, you boy calf, she said, but you wonder what I would do for you. She let the mirrored shawl slip off her shoulders, and 3 black ivory combs clattered to the ground from her knotted hedge of thick white hair. The air grew very still and clammy. There was a sense of presence. The princess closed her eyes and droned, and her hair seemed to pick itself up and then gathered into a sleek sliding thing and ran off her back back into the white coiled ground. The shapeless gown of cotton, gently shifting on her hips, appeared to draw itself into a peplum or bustle, and then snaked it off. And I'm going to stop right there. Thanks for listening.